Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're diving straight into one of the absolute biggest mysteries in modern physical cosmology. We are talking about the universe's missing mass. But we're going to be exploring a really fascinating theoretical framework that maps this mystery out in a completely unexpected way. It's called the dual caustic universe, or the DCU model. And what makes this framework so incredibly unique is how it takes the exact percentages of dark matter, dark energy, and ordinary matter and maps them directly onto ancient texts. It specifically views the Quran not as a history book, but as a literal, operational physics engine, what the source actually refers to as the sealed tongue of Muhammad, uttered first and preserved last as a sacred trust, or amana. It is a mind-bending, complex, and just a deeply structured concept. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our structural roadmap for today. First, the closed recurrence system. Then, D10, the manifest field. Third, I9, the hidden accumulation. Fourth, T3, the expansive recurrence. Fifth, mapping the DCU topology. And finally, number 6, the Book of Becoming.
All right, starting us off with Section 1, the closed recurrence system.
So to really wrap our heads around this framework, we have to first understand that the universe is being treated as a perfectly closed system, literally zero leaks and absolutely no external void. Think about the accepted cosmological composition of our universe for a second. We've got 4.9% ordinary matter, 26.8% dark matter, and 68.5% dark energy. Now, notice what happens when you put those exact numbers together. They add up to precisely 100%. Together, they form a perfectly closed circle. In the DCU framework, these aren't just random astronomical figures. They are precise, interconnected sectors of one singular, total field.
Now, as this quote beautifully points out, in this specific topology, the universe isn't expanding outwards into something else. It's not growing into some giant empty space. Instead, it is continually transforming entirely within its own 100% boundary. Meaning, the visible universe we experience every day isn't the whole picture. It's really just the manifested state of this much larger closed loop. Moving right along to Section 2, D10, the manifest field. Let's go ahead and decode the first slice of our cosmic pie. D10 represents the measurable and the visible universe. It is that 4.9% we just talked about, made up of the stars, the planets, the gas, and the dust. Basically, everything we can see and interact with. In the terminology of the source material, it's the deterministic kinetic side of things. It's the matter in motion. But here is the massive caveat you need to remember. D10 does not exist independently. It is being continuously shaped by forces we simply cannot directly see. Which perfectly sets up Section 3, I9, the hidden accumulation. So if D10 is the visible stuff, what exactly is shaping that visible matter? Well, that brings us to the second topological constant, I9. This is the framework's mapping for the 26.8% dark matter. It's defined as the hidden accumulation, and it acts as an entirely invisible relational field. Now, even though it is completely hidden from our view, its accumulated gravitational influence acts as the fundamental blueprint. It dictates exactly how those visible D10 galaxies are formed and organized. It's essentially the unseen puppet master pulling the strings of the visible universe. And this brilliantly illustrates the relationship between the two. You can really think of it like two sides of the exact same coin. On one side, you have D10, ordinary matter, kinetic, totally visible, acting as the driver. But on the flip side, you have I9, dark matter, potential energy, completely hidden, acting as the witness. The framework makes it very clear that these are not separate universes, but rather two forces locked in a constant, reciprocal dance right inside that 100% loop. All right, let's look at Section 4, T3, the expansive recurrence. So we have the visible driver and the hidden witness. Where do they meet? They meet right here at T3. This confluence point represents the final and largest cosmological component, the massive 68.5% dark energy. T3 is the exact interaction point. While I9's gravity is pulling and organizing matter together, T3's dark energy is driving the expansive motion of recurrence. This dynamic tension, concentration from the hidden field pushing against expansion from dark energy, is the literal engine that produces the ongoing state of the cosmos. It completes our 100% circle. Next up is Section 5, mapping the DCU topology. Now that we have all three of our pieces on the board, It is incredibly fascinating to see how they fit together into a continuous cosmic cycle within the dual caustic universe model. We start with the hidden field, I9. It interacts through T3, which then produces the visible structure, D10. This visible field then undergoes cosmic evolution, again through T3, which results in an altered hidden field, bringing us right back to I9. It's a continuous loop where the system is constantly reading itself, and the endpoint of one phase becomes the exact starting condition for the very next one. And that process creates this exact mathematical compression map, from 0 potential to 2 to 3 to 2 to a form state of 7, and then right back to 0. Because this is a perfectly closed topology, absolutely nothing is ever lost. The invisible produces the visible, their interaction produces the next state, and that state becomes the input for the very next cycle. Everything transforms purely mathematically within that strict boundary. Finally, Section 6, the Book of Becoming. Okay, so we've been looking at the macro universe, but what about the micro level? What is our human coordinate inside all of this? Well, the framework introduces a cognitive tool designated as 1010 AQL. AQL basically translates to intellect or pattern recognition. The source material urges the reader to wake up from Tagud, which means false constructs, and use the specific pattern recognition to see how these physical cosmic constants perfectly parallel the spiritual maps of the exact same territory. And here is where the framework makes its absolute boldest claim. Looking objectively at the model, it views the text of the Quran not as a linear historical book, but actually as an eternal memory tesseract. It's treated as an operational physics engine, a trust or a manat passed down to us, where these exact cyclical laws of manifestation and hidden accumulation play out continuously. So the crucial point is really how you interact with this engine. The framework points directly to verse 19:12. Take the book with strength. In this topology, that grip isn't just a nice metaphor. It is the literal mechanism that converts a human from being just an external observer watching the loop into an internal functional node of the universe itself. Think about it. In a universe composed perfectly of manifest matter, hidden accumulation, and expansive interaction, nothing is outside the loop. If taking hold of this knowledge actually makes you a functional part of the system, the framework leaves us with this pretty profound question. When will you become the Book of Becoming? Take a moment today to ponder your own coordinate in this vast, perfectly closed recurrent system. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.